question, or rather it was a comment posted to my video on the nonsense of non-self. And the comment is, you are aware, in quotation marks, of this sense of self. Only awareness is present in all experience. I get what you are saying. Take a deeper look. Your sense of self is awareness arising as a thought that you are a self. It's a huge difference between suffering and not suffering. I get what you are saying, but it's just not true. Our true existence is awareness, always has been. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with what you are saying either. Most people's sense of self is behind their eyes. However, you are aware of this sense as well. Just look, it's clear as day, with all love. And so, the reason why I wanted to comment on it is that I think there's an important distinction we can make here. Now again, I understand, I think, where the person is coming from. And I understand why the person is saying it. But it's still based on this non-self philosophy. That because the person is saying that you are aware that you have a sense of self. So there's, behind the sense of self, there's just awareness. And I totally agree with that. But the way I look at it is that we have, as I've explained many times, we have the outer personality that is our subconscious mind. And it's made up of all these individual, what I call subconscious selves. They form a conglomerate, which is often called the ego. So this outer self, this is the self that suffers. You know, you only suffer through these outer selves. I totally agree with that. And behind all of these outer selves is what I call the conscious you, or the conscious self. And as I explained in several videos, this is pure awareness. In other words, it doesn't have the biases, the opinions, the fears, the desires that are anchored in all of these separate selves. So basically, for most people, they are completely identified with this outer personality and they think this is who they are. But when you start to experience that pure awareness, you are experiencing that you are not this. That's perfectly true. And I understand that in the beginning, when you have this experience of pure awareness, that's all you experience. You're just experiencing that behind all of the outer selves, the sense of self, there is this pure awareness where you don't have any opinions. You're neutral. You're not thinking this should happen, this shouldn't happen. You're not thinking this is good, this is bad. You're just observing, witnessing, the silent witness, as many people call it. And you can feel like the contrast between the two states is so profound that you think there is no self in this, because there isn't the kind of self that you are used to that is there in the outer personality. I understand this. I've experienced this myself. But you see, the value of this concept of the conscious you is two things. First of all, it explains the mystical experiences that people have had for thousands of years. Because, you know, even before we were talking about non-duality and non-self and neo-advaita and this and that, people have had mystical experiences for ages. And I believe that the mystical experiences are basically the same. I mean, they're the same 10,000 years ago as they are today. You're stepping outside the outer mind and you're experiencing a distinctly different awareness, you can say. So I believe they're all the same, but they have, of course, over time been explained in different contexts. And so what has happened today is that you have now created this non-self culture, where people have had a genuine mystical experience. They've stepped outside of the outer self, they experienced the contrast, and then they're experiencing, I'm just pure awareness, or they just experience. They're not really experiencing I am pure awareness. You're experiencing pure awareness, and there is no sense of self as you are used to in the outer personality, and therefore you can feel like I have no self. There is no self. I understand it. I understand how you can feel this way. I've experienced it myself, and I actually experienced this since childhood, and I just didn't know how to even explain it. But the problem is that when you go into this non-self thing, you're thinking that who you really are is either nothing or, as it says here, awareness. Your sense of self is awareness arising as a thought that you are a self. This is correct when you talk about the outer self. The outer self it has a thought or a sense of identity that it is a distinct kind of self. And so I understand you can say that you are just awareness, but the problem with it is that when you think that the goal of awakening, walking the spiritual path, reaching enlightenment, is to come to a point where there is nothing but awareness, and you see this, and I've explained this in many of my non-duality videos, you think it's undifferentiated. There's no differentiation. But the problem with this is you are not asking yourself a simple question. Why do I exist? Why did I come into being in the first place? It's like I've said, there's spiritual teachers, non-duality teachers that talk about pure awareness. The source of everything is pure awareness. But why did pure awareness differentiate itself as you? Did pure awareness somehow need to differentiate itself as you, so that the you that it differentiated itself as is not actually real, but the you can come to see that it's not real, and poof, you go back into pure awareness? Why would pure awareness need to go through this process? I mean, if you talk about Brahman or pure awareness, it's all there is, right? So Brahman, pure awareness, is completely self-sufficient, self-contained, needs nothing. It's all there is, right? It is undifferentiated. There can't be any desires, there can't be any needs in pure awareness. So why do you exist? And the other thing is, what is the you that thinks or feels it exists? Because I would say, yes, there's an outer self, and this is thought. But when you experience this, what I call pure awareness, you are actually not experiencing undifferentiated awareness, because you're still having this experience. You are aware that you exist. It's just not the kind of self you have in the outer personality. But there's still an individual self, or you wouldn't be aware. Let's put it this way. In pure awareness cannot be aware of itself from the outside. Pure awareness is pure awareness, right? Pure awareness cannot step outside of itself and be aware, oh, there's pure awareness and there's me. There's no differentiation in pure awareness. So you could say that pure awareness could become aware of itself through you as an individual self. And so what I'm saying is, part of the purpose for our existence is that simply the being who created this world of form we are in wants to experience its own creation from the inside. That's why we exist. But another part of the reason for this is, as I explained in my video about how the world was created, that the Creator has created a world of form that is an educational institution for other creators. We start with a point-like sense of self by working our way up through all the levels of this creation that are much more than the material world. we increase our awareness potentially to the same level of awareness as the Creator, and then we can become creators and create our own worlds. That's how there's a growth process. And when you talk about awareness and there's nothing but awareness, you're completely denying the growth process. And that's what I'm saying. Then you have this unsolvable explanation problem. Why does anything exist? Why did the undifferentiated Brahman manifest itself as the world? Why not just stay in bliss as Brahman? Why did undifferentiated awareness differentiate itself as the world and as us? You can say, okay, the world is a dream. No, what's a dream is the way we look at the world through the separate selves. That is a dream. That is unreal. Yes, we can awaken from that. But when we awaken from that outer self, we don't disappear. We still have awareness. That's why, you can, in a sense, you could say, okay, here's a person who claims, for the first many years of my life, I was unawakened, unenlightened, and then I had this experience where I saw the unreality of the world, I saw the unreality of my state of mind and consciousness, and now I'm awakened, I'm enlightened. Well, why are you still in a physical body then? Do you really think that a no-self could still express itself through a physical body? I mean, who's talking? What's talking? You can say that, you can see these non-dual teachers saying, there's no one here talking. Talking is just happening. Well, how? How is talking just happening? If you have realized that you are not there, how is talking happening? So it's a contradiction in terms, and that's why I'm saying that awakening from the illusion, from the dream, is not that you cease to exist. It's that you discover your true sense of self. And the person says, our true existence is awareness, always has been. Yeah. Individual awareness as opposed to the outer awareness, the awareness in your higher self, that's who you have always been. Because the only reason why you have any awareness is that at some point, the Creator who created this world of form created you, the essence of your being, your higher self. And it gave you this individual spark, spirit spark, that makes you a differentiated being, an individual being. This is not a separate being, it's an individual being. And that is a state of awareness that is beyond what most people have through the outer self. That's perfectly correct. But it's still an individual awareness, and you are not meant to destroy that. You can't. You can't, okay? This was given to you by Spirit. You do not have the power to destroy it. You have the power to transcend it, to grow it, to expand the sense of self, to expand your sense of awareness. What is awareness? It's awareness of something. Unless it's pure undifferentiated awareness, but that's not you. You can't be pure awareness. You can only be an awareness that is awareness of from your vantage point. You're looking at the world from your vantage point. And so you're aware of yourself. The question is, are you aware of yourself as a separate self or as a connected being that's one with the all, one with the whole? You are an extension of the whole. That's what raising awareness means. So I understand that you get into something subtle here. You're up against the limitations of words, because I'm not trying to say the person is wrong. I'm just saying our true existence is awareness. And awareness is beyond the sense of self. Yes, it's beyond the sense of self as an outer self. But what is it that says, my true existence is awareness? you can say it's awareness, or you can say it's a self, or you can say it's awareness that is aware of itself as a individual self. Because what I'm saying is, if you are in a physical body on earth and you are saying something, it's because you exist as an individual being. Because if you were pure awareness, you couldn't say anything. You couldn't really be aware of anything. Couldn't be aware of things. There would only be pure awareness, total undifferentiated. So, I get what you are saying, but it's just not true. Who is the you that gets what the you that is me is saying? You are an individual being. I'm an individual being. Otherwise, we can't talk to each other. We can't express anything. And as I said, why do we exist as individual beings? Because we have the potential to grow. We don't exist because there was some kind of cosmic accident that differentiated us, and the purpose of this is that we awaken again and go back into our differentiation. This doesn't make any sense to me, let's put it that way. I'm sure that it makes sense to some people, and they will argue that I'm completely wrong, but I can only talk based on my own experience. And I've gone through all of these stages. What I see sometimes from these comments is that they assume that, oh, I just haven't gotten it because I haven't walked the path that they've walked and I haven't studied the teachings they've studied. But I have been on the path for a while, and I've gone through a lot of different experiences. I've studied a lot of teachings, and I've thought about this, had many intuitive aha experiences, and this is where I'm at today. This is where I've arrived at, and that's what I'm expressing and teaching based on. And if you see it differently, that's fine. I have no problem with it. I'm not in any way feeling like I have to get you to agree with me, but I'm just expressing it from as I see it. And if it resonates with you, good. If it doesn't, then yeah, you can either ignore it or you can argue against it, whatever you prefer. But it's again this. Who is the you that's disagreeing with what I'm saying? Who is the you that's arguing against it? And why do you feel you have to argue against it? There's got to be some you here that even watched this teaching, that has some opinion about it, or observation about it, whatever you want to call it. There's got to be something there, or you wouldn't be here. And I'm at the point where I'm not trying to negate myself. I'm not trying to not exist. I'm not saying that non-existence is the highest state. I'm saying the highest state is to realize who you really are and express that, and do it in ever self-transcending stages, an ever self-transcending process that never ends. There is no ultimate state of spiritual growth or highest state of awareness. There is no highest state of awareness, no ultimate absolute state of awareness. That's what I explained in my video about how the world was created.